let's talk about this announcement that we've had that police will be the new guidelines are going to be that they should release the ethnicity and the nationality of suspects when there's a high-profile case, when there is concern about public disorder or community cohesion or whatever. Do you think that's the right decision, or should it always be information that is released?
Well, it's a difficult one, really, because under the Children and Young Persons Act, those under the age of 18 are deemed as children. And that is why children's names and details are never given.
Yeah, but you can still... But most suspects are not children, but even if it was a child, you can still give out information regarding ethnicity or nationality. It wouldn't identify them.
I don't see that being a problem at all. Unfortunately, when I was in the police, when I was on a robbery squad, predominantly the suspects that we were after, about 72% were young black males. Whoever were the suspect, be they black or white, we put out their description. Nowadays, since I've retired, the police rarely ever give any description out whatsoever. So I don't know how they can ask the public to help them if they saw anything when they're not giving the public the correct information.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting, Merseyside Police, when they decided to release within a very short space of time, within an hour, after we had a car plough into Liverpool fans in a parade, and they said the suspect to be arrested was a white British man who born in the local area, because I think everyone assumed, I think not unreasonably, and bearing in mind that is still a live case, obviously, so we don't want to prejudice any possible any future proceedings, and charges have been brought. But I think people not unreasonably said, oh, this looks like the modus operandi of of Islamist terrorism, because we've had cases where cars have appeared to plough into people, and and it has been Islamist terrorists. So they chose to put that information out. But I think a lot of people felt that if it was the other way round, they wouldn't have put out that information. So it does seem to think, I think for most of us, think that they put out the information when it is someone, let's face it, who is in the white majority, and they don't put out the information when it is either a minority ethnic group or indeed particularly if it is Muslim, someone who is Muslim or believed to be Muslim.
Well, I think Britain learnt a very tough lesson after the Southport stabbings. They kept it all quiet. And I was warning people on social media where I have a quite high profile, and I warn people, stop posting what you're posting, you're going to get nicked.
Yeah.
And they did. There were riots, hundreds of police were assaulted, mosques were nearly burned down.
Yeah.
So what the Home Secretary and the government have got to get is the balance right.
Yeah.
And I'll be quite honest with you, Julia, when I was in the police, rarely ever was I posting on children killing other children and adults.
Yeah, but that was a particular case where he was, Axel Rudiger-Bond at the time of the crimes was, I think, a week or two before his 18th birthday. Yeah,
no, the point I was making, Julie, was this, is that almost daily now I'm posting and reporting on children killing other children, stabbing and maiming other children. Yeah. Times have changed. And maybe it's time now for times to change to identify those that are committing the most horrific offences. Yeah. And even if it's to stop public disorder, that has to be a good thing.
Well, this is the thing. It's the idea that we're afraid of facts. All facts that can possibly be brought into the public domain, which are not going to prejudice a trial, should be brought into the public domain. We're constantly told we should know things like, for instance, the ethnicity or the nationality or national or immigration status of people who are committing crimes. But that information should be recorded. And in the case of, say, the grooming gangs, Baroness Louise Casey pointed out that, a third of cases, they didn't record the ethnicity. And you think, oh, come on. As I say, if you apply for a library card in the local council, you have to, they ask for your ethnicity. Of course they know. They know whether IC1, IC2, IC3. They know perfectly well. But they're choosing not to give that information. The reason they're not going to give that information is because they think we're all horrible bigots and we're all going to go out and riot.
Well, times have changed, as I just said to you, and every time it's like I was one of the spokespersons, well, I was the spokesperson for James Bolger's mother, Denise Bolger, and of course Thompson and Venables. Their names were sort of kept away, but everybody within the community, Julia, knew exactly who they were. Social media now, you can post something on social media and it will be in Australia in 6 seconds. Yeah. So the identity is known by everybody except those in the government that actually its duty is to reassure society. So I think that such details in this day and age should be given, but care must be also given to ensure that they're not attacked and that there's not public disorder.
Yes. What did you make of the Warwickshire police? Basically, they knew that the two men who'd been suspected and had been arrested for the alleged rape of a 12-year-old girl in Warwickshire, in Nuneaton, that they told local councillors, but the local reform leader of the council, he told the public, he said the public have a right to know that these people who are suspected of this crime, and again, it's a live case, are illegal migrants living in an asylum hotel. Did the public have a right to know that?
Well, I believe they should. People coming illegally into Britain, which I think is 50,000 under this government, hundreds have committed the most serious offences. There's been some murders, many rapes, children interfered with, and many serious crimes. In London, for example, 40% of all sex crimes are committed by illegal migrants.
No, not by illegal migrants. No. By migrants. This is a claim from Robert Jenrick, by foreign nationals.
Well, if you come into this country,
illegal migrants. No, but not illegal migrants, foreign nationals.
Well, if you come into, we may disagree on this. If you come into this country illegally, where you haven't come through the right chains, it's like if you fly into this country, we'll send a couple of typhoons up to detain you, and you'll be arrested.
No, but that's a different. That's a completely different point, Norman. The figure you gave was an incorrect. I was correcting that figure. Look, just finally, I've got like 1 minute left. I want to ask you this. We've been told by the Police and Crime Commissioner for Thames Valley, Matthew Barber, that it's wrong for people to think that tackling thieves, particularly shoplifters, is just a job for the police. And he says the public have a duty to stand up to shoplifters as well. He's saying not rugby tackling them, but standing up to them. Do you agree?
Well, everybody has a duty to protect society. However, we have a dangerous society nowadays. Yeah. I report a knife crime 24/7, serious crime. Shoplifting is out of control. And many of those that actually shoplift are carrying knives, weapons. They're under the influence of drugs and are more likely to harm you. And most shops have a policy, safety over stock, and that really should be the policy for the public, unless you're in a position to do something.
Yeah, even the security guards, for goodness sake, don't tackle the shoplifters physically.
Train them, send them on police training courses, conflict resolution, self-defence, tell them the law, pay them the right money, and equip them with quick cuffs. So anybody that goes shoplifting knows that there's a very well-trained security guard there that can detain you, deal with you, and put you in quick cuffs.
So we should give them tasers. Or here's an idea. Maybe the police could turn up and deal with it. There we are.